Pink is the color of the day all over Major League Baseball as we celebrate Mother's Day. The D-backs have won their last 2 Mother's Day games, and a win today would complete their first sweep in Atlanta in 10 years. Arizona Diamondbacks baseball is brought to you by Sanderson Ford. And good morning from Turner Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume, Bob Brenly along the way, and a very happy Mother's Day to all the D-backs moms out there as we go for the sweep in Atlanta here, Bob, with Patrick Corbin on the mound.
Yeah, looking for a big bounce-back outing from Patrick. Walked 5 guys his last time out, including walking in a run. I think the pink shoes are going to be the key today for Patrick. Looking for big things from the lefty today.
And we've talked about needing wins from the top 3 in the rotation. We've seen Greinke win. We saw Shelby win last night. It's Patrick's turn today.
Yeah, keep the line moving, so to speak.
First pitch coming up from Turner Field right after this.
Arizona Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. By Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Double Jack Burger today, only at Jack in the Box. By Papa Murphy's. Love at 425 degrees. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money.
On Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Chaz Roberts, Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. By Tire Pros. For the best selection of Continental and General Brand tires, visit your local Tire Pros today. By Oregano's. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run at Oregano's. And by Cox Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? A little breezy here at Turner Field, but clear and comfortable. Steve Berthume, Bob Brenly, and Jody Jackson along the way. Chip Hale's D-backs have already clinched their first series win in Atlanta since 2007. And Bob, today they go for the 3-game sweep.
Yeah, what a turn of events after the miserable series down in Miami. The Diamondbacks came in here to Atlanta and have been putting a whooping on the Braves the last couple days. Here's how Chip's going to line them up for the series finale. Gene Segura at second base, Jake Lamb at third base, Paul Goldschmidt over at first, Ricky Weeks Jr. getting a start in the ball game today out in left, Brandon Drury in right field. It'll be Chris Herman behind the plate, Chris Owings in center, Patrick Corbin on the mound, and Nick Ahmed hitting ninth.
Rob Drake has the plate calling the balls and strikes on this Mother's Day. We are underway with strike one. To Gene Segura, your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the Braves is the 24-year-old right-hander Mike Foltynewicz. A very hard thrower out there, just his second start this year. The first one did not go well. He started Monday against the Mets at Citi Field and gave up 3 home runs in the first inning, and he was gone by the end of the fourth.
It's been a strange early part of the season for the Braves right-hander. Spring training, he pitched 8 2/3 innings, gave up 5 long balls, started the season at AAA, pitched 4 consecutive starts, did not allow a home run. Then, as you mentioned, his first inning back in the big leagues, 3 bombs to the Mets.
1-2 on Gene Segura. Gene comes into today at .344 with 4 homers and tied with the Nationals' Daniel Murphy for the Major League lead in hits. Murphy is hitting over 400 in his first season in Washington. Pink is the color of the day. Pink bats, pink shoes, pink numbers, you name it. We got it covered in pink. As we celebrate Mother's Day all over Major League Baseball today, one of the great traditions.
It started with just pink bats originally, but it has blossomed onto wristbands and undershirts, logos, shoes.
See a lot of moms and families in the ballpark here today. Great to see that on any day, but especially this one. Segura 3 hits and a walk in the series, all singles. He had a couple of hits and scored twice in last night's D-backs win, and some D-backs fans are here with us. Reaches out and lifts it along the right field line. Markakis in foul ground. ARI on defense for Atlanta, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Center.
Little different look to the lineup for Freddie Gonzalez today. The veteran Jeff Francoeur out in left field. Former D-back Ender Inciarte out in center. Nick Markakis just made the catch in right field. It'll be Daniel Castro and Eric Ibar on the left side of the infield. Chase Darno and Freddie Freeman on the right side. Tyler Flowers doing the catching today for right-hander Mike Foltynewicz.
And the Braves put the shift on for Jake Lamb, back in the 2-hole today. Foltynewicz is a hard thrower out there. He's mid to upper 90s. Lamb 274. He's got 3 home runs. They put the shift on for Jake and leave Castro, the third baseman, near the third base bag. Ibar, the shortstop, right in front of second base umpire Corey Blazer.
I mentioned that start against the Mets for Foltynewicz, and we're told his pace was ridiculously fast. He could not get rid of the ball quickly enough, and with that in mind, they want him to have a purpose for every pitch he throws in this ball game.
Well, swing and bunt. This is going to be a tough play. The opposite side of the shift, and Jake Lamb has an infield single.
Take a boatload of those against this exaggerated shift. Just a little topper down that third baseline. Nice effort by Foltynewicz, but Lamb down that line with an infield hit.
Brings up Paul Goldschmidt. Goldie at .229 with 6 home runs. Walked 3 times last night, leading the major leagues in bases on balls. Saw Goldie in the clubhouse yesterday, sitting in front of his locker with that pink bat in his hands. This was yesterday, mind you. Just kind of doing his Goldie thing where he visualized. It was almost like he was getting a feel for the pink bat, preparing for today. That's going to reach the seats, and it's 1-1.
Even though it's probably the same model he normally uses. Something about that pink, you have to get a feel for the handle. Where's the weight balance? Where's the sweet spot on the barrel?
Even the umpires have pink today. See Rob Drake behind the plate there. This is popped up first base side. Darno is over there with Freddie Freeman. And that's the second out. No David Peralta today. David has been hit in the arm a couple of times in the last week or so. It's barking a little bit, so he's got the day off. And Brandon Drury is taken over in right field, and it's another start in left for Ricky Weeks Jr. Now that is big time.
That's
right
next level, yeah. Have your own mug on the pink wristbands.
This is away for ball one. Ricky at 250 and 3 RBIs in the year. This is blasted to deep right center field. Ender Inciarte on the run. He's out there in center. He's got it just shy of the wall. The former Diamondback takes an extra base hit away and maybe an RBI as well. Patrick Corbin coming up. Set for the home half of the first inning at Turner Field, and your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks is the left-hander Patrick Corbin. 1 win in 6 starts this year. The ERA, which has gone up after each of his previous 3 outings, is now just below 5.
I was kind of joking about it in the open, but I do think that those pink shoes are going to be at least mildly distracting to the Braves hitters today.
That's quite a look.
It really is.
And Patrick had what, for the most part, was an encouraging outing against the Marlins in Miami Tuesday. Gave up 3 runs, 5 hits, 5 1/3, walked only 1. He was up 4-1 in the 6th, and then he walked Giancarlo Stanton, gave up that long home run to Marcell Ozuna on a pitch he left up. And that tainted the final numbers a bit after Patrick had thrown 5 solid innings.
And I mentioned his start before that against the St. Louis Cardinals with 5 walks in that game. It's just so uncharacteristic for Patrick, a guy that normally just pounds that zone.
Nick Markakis hits the first pitch of the ball game right to Gene Segura. 1 down. The lineup for Freddie Gonzalez and his Atlanta Braves, who come in 7-22 on the year and 1-14 here at home.
Woo. Nick Markakis just let it off, hit the first pitch right to second base. Ender Inciarte will be out in center field. Freddie Freeman at first base. Tyler Flowers doing the catching today with Jeff Francoeur in left, Eric Ibar at short, Chase Darno at second, Daniel Castro playing third base today, and Mike Fultonevich, the right-hander, on the mound.
Ender Inciarte, who made that nice running grab in right center field to win the top of the first, steps in. 182, just 4 games with the Braves this year. Ender returned from a minor league rehab assignment yesterday after missing a month with a left hamstring strain. He was 0 for 3 with a walk.
Watch a bunt. We know Ender Inciarte from his past with the Diamondbacks against a tough lefty. He tried to take that ball with him to the first base side. Diamondbacks should be well aware of what Ender's going to try to do offensively.
Ender said he lived his entire life with the Diamondbacks and admitted it was difficult to be traded from Arizona. A .292 hitter in 2 seasons with the D-backs and a fan favorite for good reason. But he said as soon as he was sent here, he saw the other part of the coin and knew that it was also going to be a positive for him. He says he knows the Braves have got a plan for him, and hopefully he's going to stick with one team for what's left of his career. Full count now, 3-2.
I think that's a common reaction for any player who's traded for the first time. Your first instinct is, why don't they like me? Why don't they want me anymore? But then the other side of that coin is somebody else does want me and value what I bring to a ball club.
Freddie Freeman on deck. Got him. First strikeout for Patrick. 2 up, 2 down.
Just hammering away at that strike zone.
If there's one advantage, Bob, for Patrick today, other than the pink shoes, it's the fact that the only good Braves hitters in this lineup are all left-handers.
Yeah.
Like this guy, Freddie Freeman.
3 at the top.
And the shift is on. There's a strike going 1. Freeman, 275 and 4 home runs. He homered in the first inning last night against Shelby Miller. His 3rd home run in 9 games. And Patrick jumps ahead 0-2. This was Freddie Freeman against his very good friend Shelby Miller. They grew close during Shelby's season in Atlanta, and Freddie said, I knew that if he got 2 strikes on me, he was going to blow me away with a fastball, and I was not going to let that happen. So he jumped on that one very early in the count.
And you could see Wellington Castillo was way inside on Freddie Freeman. They wanted to try to jam him in on the hands, and that fastball leaked out over the plate. Freddie made him pay.
He has 4 homers on the season. The Braves as a team have 7. And Patrick Corbin, 3 up, 3 down, couple of strikeouts. Good start for Patrick, no score here in Atlanta. Turner Field in Atlanta, where the Diamondbacks are going for the 3-game sweep here on this Mother's Day. And it's time, Bob, for your Valley Honda dealer's key to the game.
Well, the Braves have really obliged with some Southern hospitality in this series. Obviously a very undermanned Braves roster at this point, looking forward to moving into their new stadium next year and unfortunately taking their lumps this year.
And here's a guy that's been doing a lot of the lumping. It's Brandon Drury. He'll lead off the second against Mike Foltynewicz. There's a strike 0-1. Brandon 316, 6 home runs. And more than half his hits this season have gone for extra bases. He's had a big series, 3 for 5 last night with a pair of doubles. And he homered here Friday. As Chip Hale said once again last night, Drury is just forcing their hand to put him in the lineup every night somewhere, and they would have to figure out tomorrow where that is. And, well, today is tomorrow. It turned out to be right field. That has become a daily thing. Take your vitamin. Call your mom. Where do we put Brandon Drury? A day off for Peralta today.
David Peralta with a little bit of a sore arm as we're going to get a look at Brandon Drury. Just absolutely mashing balls to left field in this series.
That was the homer Friday. Then last night, 2 doubles, 3 for 5.
Everything on the barrel.
It's been fun to watch. But Foltynewicz gets him 96 miles an hour. This guy's a hard thrower. And that's his first strikeout.
I think that's the first time we've seen a major league pitcher throw a fastball by Brandon Drury on the inside part of the plate.
I think you're right. Well, here is, they're calling him Babe now around here. Chris Herman. A pair of singles in his start Tuesday night against the Marlins on this road trip. Lifts the first pitch to very short left field. Jeff Francoeur coming in. Back in Atlanta this year. He's got it 2 down. That'll bring up Chris Owings. Co has some family here, down from South Carolina. A native of Gilbert, South Carolina. D-backs first round pick out of high school there. 253 and 7 RBIs. This is lifted along the right field line. Nick Markakis in fair territory. 3 up, 3 down, 5 in a row retired by Foltynewicz. No score in Atlanta.
Field, Patrick Corbin in for the bottom of the second here. Nice efficient first inning, 11 pitches, 2 strikeouts, getting NCRT and Freeman. But it was interesting talking to Chip Hale earlier today. He tired out in Miami in the 5th inning, and so like any pitcher, the manager's always monitoring, but he used the word overestimated, and we may have overestimated the workload for Patrick in this, his first full season off Tommy John. Guys, we talked a lot about training wheels off, but that was the word that Chip Hale described it. They just don't know. He had 85 innings last year. they'll just see that he's pitched very well, but they have to monitor fatigue and that possibility.
Thank you, Jody. Tyler Flowers, the catcher, batting cleanup for Atlanta. Leads off the second. Yeah, the most pitches Patrick threw in any start last year, remember coming off Tommy John, was 91. This is hard hit to shortstop. Boy, Nick Ahmed just sticks the glove out there. It's amazing. Our eye on defense for the D-backs, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Well, Ricky Weeks Jr. getting the start in left field today with Chris Owings in center. Brandon Drury slides over to right field this afternoon. Jake Lamb and Nick Ahmed on the left side. Gene Segura, Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. Chris Herman doing the catching, and lefty Patrick Corbin on the mound.
The veteran Jeff Rancourt getting the start in left field. He's had only 50 at-bats this year. Yes, he went. That's Carlos Torres down there at first. It's 0-1. Francoeur at 240. He's got one extra base hit. And he has been tough on left-hand pitching this year.
He's a little, it reminds me a little of Brandon Drury, the way he stands, just statue still in that batter's box until Patrick's almost ready to release the ball. Very upright, not a lot of moving parts.
Reaches out and pokes it to Segura from the outfield grass. Patrick Corbin 5 up, 5 down.
Boy, what you like to see in the early going, strikeouts and ground balls from Patrick Corbin so far.
Brings up the shortstop, Eric Ibar. Ibar to .184. 3 doubles are his only extra base hits this year. He's a switch hitter, batting under 150 from the right-hand side of the plate this year. Patrick Corbin's got that vibe like this is one of those days where he's in attack mode. Is coming out ready to throw, firing strikes. 3 ground ball outs so far, 2 strikeouts. 1-1 on Ibar. That's a base hit. That's his 3rd hit in the series.
It was a base hit, but it's a ground ball once again through that left side. Struck well, finds that 5.5 hole. You could see that Jake Lamb was drawn in to protect against a bunt and just had no range on that ball hit to his left.
So a 2-out single for Chase Darno, who's getting the start at 3rd base today. He's played just 3 games with the Braves this year and a pinch hit single last night. He is the older brother of Mets catcher Travis Darno. Lifted out to Brandon Drury in right field. And we are through 2 here at Turner Field. No score. The D-backs and the Braves.
quickly this afternoon. Hey, fans, a D-backs home run today means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack-in-a-Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
Patrick Corbin batting 8th this afternoon will lead off the 3rd against Braves starter Mike Foltynewicz, who has set down the last 5 he's faced. Oh, 0-2. D-backs faced Mike Foltynewicz twice last year. The first time was last June at Chase Field. He gave up 5 runs, 8 hits, and 5 2/3. Got a no decision. That was a 9-8 Diamondbacks win. Foltynewicz then lost his return bout here at Turner Field last August. He was hit hard again. 6 runs, 9 hits. He lasted only 4 2/3. And he rings up Corbin for his 2nd strikeout. So they saw this guy twice last year. Nick Ahmed now. Nick at 175, he's got 3 homers.
Mentioned it last night. I mean, 175 is 175. It's pretty tough to sugarcoat that, but Nick has hit some balls right on the button recently, right at defenders. Line drive to right field in the ball game last night. Hit some line drives down in Florida, right at Marlins defenders. Be nice if some of those start to find holes.
A couple of big RBI hits in Miami. Had an RBI single Friday. Here in Atlanta, walk and a strikeout last night. And the interesting thing about Nick's skid here, he's not striking out a whole lot at all. He's made consistent contact, just not finding any holes. That's bounced to Castro at 3rd. High throw. Freeman gets the tag down, and that's 7 straight retired by Foltynewicz. Gene Segura. Segura flying out his first time up. Segura has reached base safely now in 14 straight games. That's the longest streak of his career. Boy, at this pace, we might be looking at a 90-minute game.
Oh, there you go.
I thought you might like that one.
Yeah, we'll be landing in Denver at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Castro at 3rd. 2nd straight 1-2-3 inning for Mike Foltynewicz. No score in Atlanta. where the traffic never moves that fast. It's the Braves and the Diamondbacks. D-backs going for the 3-game sweep. And hey, fans, the Diamondbacks are getting set to welcome the New York Yankees back to Chase Field for a 3-game series coming up May 16, 17, and 18. And you can get your tickets right now at dbacks.com. Daniel Castro, the third baseman, leads off the Atlanta third against Patrick Corbin. Patrick had an 11-pitch first inning and a 9-pitch second. Castro just his 5th start this year at third base. He's played second, he's played third and short. Hitless in the series. He's had 203 on the year. Brandon Drury in right field. That'll bring up the pitcher, Mike Foltynewicz.
Everybody's swinging the bats like they're double parked today.
Flying along here. Mike Foltynewicz is out of Minooka, Illinois. A first-round pick by the Astros 6 years ago. He was the 19th overall selection in that draft. And he's got a base hit. Second hit against Patrick Corbin, both singles. The leadoff man now, Nick Markakis. Markakis grounded out on the first pitch he saw to lead off the home half of the first.
It's not uncommon to see a left-handed hitter be more aggressive than normal against a tough left-handed pitcher. You just don't want to get into a situation in a 2-strike count where you're likely to see that breaking ball off the outside corner. So a lot of left-handed hitters will go to that plate ready to attack anything close to the zone early in the count.
And it's been a slow start at the plate against left-hand pitching this year for Markakis. 235, couple of doubles. That's about 40 points below what he hit last year versus lefties. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Markakis, a couple of singles Friday night in the opener. He was 0 for 4 last night. Hard shot right back at Patrick Corbin. It goes into center. That was a bullet.
Of a pitch on the outside corner on the swing before, he stayed right on that one, sent it right back where it came from. Heads up, Patrick.
Patrick retired the first 5 he faced in the ball game. But now a pair of 1-out singles has put 2 on for Ender Inciarte. Ender a strikeout victim his first time up.
Stop by Chris Herman right there. Talk about it all the time with Patrick Corbin on the mound. You know you're going to be busy moving to your left. That slider breaking down and into a right-handed hitter, down and away from a lefty. You know you're going to have to be very mobile moving to your left on a day when Patrick Corbin's on the mound, and Chris Herman blocked that one up perfectly.
Jake Lamb. They can't quite double off Foltynewicz, who gets back just in time. And they retire Inciarte for the second out in the third.
Well, that ball got down there to Jake Lamb in a hurry. A line drive. He initially looked at first base before trying to throw on to second to get the pitcher Foltynewicz just a little bit too late.
Big out to get here with big Freddie Freeman coming up. 2 on and 2 down. Freeman struck out to end the first. He's got 3 hits in the series, singled twice Friday, homered last night. Freddie Freeman has hit left-hand pitching this year. He's just under 300 against lefties, including 2 of his team-high 4 homers, which is a big improvement over last year. He hit under 220 against left-handers with only 1 home run. Slide. 2-0. Got a piece of Chris Herman back there.
Just a grazing shot off that left shoulder. The ball got to the backstop so quickly I didn't think it hit anything, but then you watch Chris's reaction and it obviously got him somewhere on that left shoulder.
Patrick behind 3-1. The catcher Tyler Flowers on deck. He would be next. Patrick, that 11-pitch first, 9-pitch second, but laboring here, trying to strand 2 in the 3rd. That's in there for strike 2, and the count is full. That'll start the runners. Foltynewicz, the pitcher from second. Markakis at first. Runners go. That's ball 4. The bases are loaded. First walk issue today by Patrick Corbin brings up Tyler Flowers. Flowers grounded out his first time up. And a base hit and an RBI when he came in midway through Friday's game after A.J. Pierzynski was ejected for arguing balls and strikes. Falling behind in the count again, 1-0. Foltynewicz, the pitcher, is the runner at third.
Yeah, you can understand Patrick pitching very carefully to Freddie Freeman, really the biggest threat without a doubt in this Braves lineup. And now you got to get right back in that strike zone against Tyler Flowers.
There's the strike, 1-1. Flowers, after 7 seasons with the White Sox, now back with the team that originally drafted him, the Braves, back in '05 out of high school in the Atlanta area. This is his hometown team.
Braves have been notorious for that over the years, drafting from the talent pool right here in the state of Georgia, sometimes right here in the city.
Jeff Francoeur is another example of that. 2-1. Patrick in a jam here. He said after the start Tuesday at Miami he felt pretty good. Felt better, in fact, than he had previously felt. Good with all his pitches for the most part. Kept the ball down. Brought that changeup back a little bit more. Got some outs with it. There's a fly ball to right field. Brandon Drury, Segura on the run. It'll be Drury, and they almost collide out there. It flirted with no man's land, but Patrick Corbin walks the high wire, leaves him loaded. We'll go to the 4th at Turner Field.
I mean, everything. She was always around. I mean, the one thing we always had was family dinner. So I think about, me and my 2 younger brothers, my mom and dad, sitting around having dinner, whatever it was, spaghetti or hamburgers and hot dogs, whatever, something that we like to eat. We all like to eat. So I definitely have a lot of memories of just having that family time.
Something we like to eat every day, but it's Mother's Day, so it seems appropriate. When the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com. And once again, because of the win last night, get on your computer, www.click. Order up a Papa John's. Watch the Diamondbacks. What mother wouldn't love that?
Keep this pizza streak going. D-backs have twice swept series here at Turner Field, 2001 and 2006, so it's been 10 years since they swept a series here. As Jake Lamb leads off the 4th against Mike Foltynewicz, who has retired 8 straight. Foltynewicz threw 15 pitches in the first inning, and then 15 in the second and the third combined. So he has really settled in here. In fact, the only hit he's given up was by Jake Lamb back in the first. A swing and bunt single. Shift is on. He fouls it back here, and it's 1-2. We saw Bud Norris pitch in relief here in this series. Norris was originally in the Braves starting rotation coming out of spring training, but his ERA was almost 9 in his first 5 starts, and he was moved into the bullpen, transitioned, as they say in the game notes. And that's when they brought Foltynewicz up from AAA Gwinnett to work as the 5th starter, and he had pitched very well in the minor leagues in April. 4 starts, a 2.05 ERA, so they got him up here. But as we mentioned earlier, his Brave season debut was a disaster. He strikes out Lamb with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. His first and only start this year against the Mets last week. David Wright, Yoenis Cespedes, Lucas Duda all homered off Foltynewicz in the first inning. 3 home runs in a span of 16 pitches to start his season. And now he's back for his 2nd start here today, and he looks a whole lot better. Goldie popped up his first time. Two. Not being very aggressive early in the count here. That's something they've been on Goldie about, says Chip Hale. He's always, it seems, hitting with 2 strikes, and here we are again. 2-2. Goldie's batting average for the season has dropped more than 30 points in the last dozen games. He's not getting a lot to hit up there. Called strike 3. Rob Drake rings him up. 4 strikeouts for Foltynewicz, who has now set down 10 in a row.
It's hard to put your finger on a reason for Goldie's struggles. Occasionally not aggressive enough. Other times maybe a little too aggressive. You love the walks. You love the on-base percentage, but Diamondbacks are expecting more out of Paul Goldschmidt.
In his last 12 games, Goldie has had 1 extra base hit and 1 RBI. Ricky Weeks Jr. flying out his first time up.
And of course, always a concern when somebody who has put up such gaudy offensive numbers over the course of their career struggles the way Goldie has been recently. You always wonder, is there something physically wrong? We know he'll never say a word. He stays out of the training room. Never wants to use that as a possible excuse, but it happens to everybody. You know, you play this game every day and you play it aggressively and at max effort the way Goldie does. It's not uncommon for things to go a little sideways physically.
Foltynewicz is rolling along here, a strike away from striking out the side in order.
He did not go, says Carlos Torres at first, and it's 2-2.
If the fans out there believe in the baseball gods and believe that players are rewarded for hard work under any circumstance, Ricky Weeks should have a big day today. Every day I was down in the Diamondbacks clubhouse, Ricky would come down the tunnel from the batting cage dripping with sweat.
Well, Fulton strikes out the side. He has set down 11 straight. No score in Atlanta. Score. And it's time for greater coverage of baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. A look around the National League West. Dodgers losing at the Rogers Center in Toronto right now, 1-0. Later today, the Rockies at the Giants, Eddie Butler and the Shark, Jeff Samardzija. And the Mets are at Petco Park, San Diego, Matt Harvey. The Dark Knight takes on Andrew Kashner. Jeff Francoeur leads off the Atlanta fourth against Patrick Corbin, who left the bases loaded in the third to keep the game scoreless. And Patrick, the way Mike Fultonevich is pitching here so far, is really going to have to be at the top of his game. Because Fultonevich is mowing him down. 5 strikeouts. He's retired 11 straight Diamondbacks. Jeff Francoeur back in Atlanta, where he had a very promising rookie season back in 2005 when he was 21. He signed with the Braves this February, right as spring training camps are opening up, and he's got a base hit. 4th hit for Atlanta, all singles. Eric Ibar had a base hit back in the second.
Freddie Gonzalez has never been one to push a lot of buttons, play a lot of hit and run. But you have to wonder, with the way this Braves offense has been sputtering, that maybe it's time to get a little more aggressive. Start some runners, maybe open some holes in the Diamondbacks defense. Give his hitters an opportunity to make something happen, even with the ground ball.
And the lower portions of this Atlanta order, it's a little thin. Patrick ahead of Ibar, 0-2. Swing and a miss. That's the 3rd strikeout for Patrick.
Good slider, back foot slider in the dirt. He gets a lot of downward movement. When he keeps that arm angle up high, stays on top of that ball, that slider goes almost straight down.
Chase Darno now flying out his first time up. The third baseman today. A bouncer over the mound. Ahmed will turn two. He's just doing everything by himself now. I think he's bored just making the routine spectacular plays. So we are scoreless through 4, and we'll stay right here on this Mother's Day for the special Mother's Day report for Jody Jackson. Jody, what do you have for us?
All right, here we go. We're going to talk to Chris Owings' mom, Sherry. And Sherry, thank you so much for talking with me on this Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to you. And it's rare, I know, sometimes to be with your son on Mother's Day when you're involved in baseball, right?
That's right. It's been a long time since we've been together, so it's really exciting. We have a great weekend.
Coming over from South Carolina, how far is that?
It's about a 3-hour drive.
And with Chris, when did you know he was going to be a major leaguer? I mean, obviously your son Kyle was with the D-backs organization for a bit. Connor is in college right now. When did you know about Chris?
Christopher was always one of those kids that was all over the diamond, and he knew what to do with the ball when he got it. And everybody always said, he's special, he's special. But John and I were like, yeah, he's pretty good, but, you know. And then when he got to play travel ball in high school, it was like, okay, maybe he is something special. So, and he's worked really hard, and we've just been really proud of him.
You're truly a baseball mom with those boys involved in it. You know, with him playing center now, when's the last time you saw Chris live in a game playing center?
You know, everybody asks us that, and I really believe it's way back in travel ball. Christopher always played up with Kyle, our older son, and sometimes they used to call him Wee Man because he was the smallest guy out there. And the coach, my husband, sometimes would put him wherever they needed him. But he was really quick then too, so it's been a good fit. And you know, Christopher just happy to be in the starting lineup.
He's done a great job. They've raved about the way he's been able to play center field. Sherry, we thank you for the time. Enjoy your Mother's Day. I know you have your sister Diana here and your mom Wilma. Have a great day.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sherry Owings joining us here, guys, as Mother's Day. The celebration continues here in Atlanta.
Thank you, Jody. Great to see the Owings family here from Gilbert, South Carolina with us. And we are set for the 5th inning. Brandon Drury, who struck out his first time up against Mike Foltynewicz, will lead it off. Foltynewicz, 5 strikeouts. He's given up just 1 hit. That was a Jake Lamb swing and bunt single back in the first. He has retired 11 straight D-backs. He's ahead of Drury, 0-2. Mentioned Mike Foltynewicz was a first-round pick by the Astros 6 years ago. Braves picked him up before last year in a trade for Evan Gattis. And he was hit pretty hard at times last year. Went 4-6 with a 5.71 ERA. His season was cut short last year by a very scary situation. Some potentially life-threatening blood clots were discovered in his right shoulder. And Foltynewicz said one day last year he walked into the clubhouse and his right arm was 2 or 3 times the size of his left arm.
Ooh.
And he showed the trainer, and they said, "We are going to the hospital right now." And they found some blood clots in there that were causing his throwing arm to swell up badly. And thankfully they performed surgery, or he may have died. And the doctors discovered it was the highest rib on his right side that had compressed some blood vessels to create the clot. So part of that rib was removed. And he had to rest a lot this winter while he was on blood thinners, didn't throw for 3 months, and he was behind the other pitchers going into camp, which is why he spent the first month of the season in the minor leagues. But he looks really good so far today. Good at bat here by Brandon Drury, who has worked the count full 3-2. Base hit for Drury. The second hit for the Diamondbacks. Leadoff man aboard in the 5th.
Another base hit that may not have been a base hit had not Ibar been shading way over in that hole between third and short. Just a little bouncer right back past the mound into center field for a leadoff hit.
Chris Herman getting the start behind the plate. Flying out his first time up. Chris with 7 hits in his last 18 at bats, including a double and 2 homers. He's at .211 on the year. And they'll keep the shift on for Herman. Ibar, the shortstop, on the first base side of second. And Castro, the third baseman, all by himself over there on the left-hand side near the third base bag.
Yeah, playing in a straight up position, guarding against a bunt where a third baseman would normally be. Leaves a huge hole on that left side of the infield with Ibar shading over onto the second base side of the bag. And now they move him off the line a little bit over there at third base.
2 balls and no strikes on Chris Herman. That's blasted out to Markakis in right field. And that's the first out here in the 5th. Time for the Coors Light Cold Hard Facts. Speaking of Chris Owings, his family here from Gilbert, South Carolina. We mentioned this yesterday, Bob. Chris Owings, his walk rate. Look at the walk rate. He's now walking once just about every 10 at bats. That's twice as much as he has before. He's become much more selective up there. He's chasing far fewer pitches outside the strike zone.
You wonder how much of that had to do with that shoulder that never was fully healthy last season. You know, occasionally if you've got a physical issue, it can create havoc with your swing. You feel like you have to start early. You don't want to get fooled. You don't want to check swing. Whatever it is that causes that pain, you try to avoid that, and subsequently maybe you chase some bad pitches, get yourself out a little bit too often.
Coaches have seen Chris show an ability to keep the bat in the zone longer, they say. He's a lot stronger after having a full offseason of weight training. And they can definitely see the difference in Owings from last year to this year. Now that he's able to free himself up and focus on the swing and not the rehab of the shoulder after the surgery.
Chris Owings is always going to be a very aggressive hitter. There's no question about that. But you don't mind him being aggressive if he's swinging at pitches that he can handle.
He said last season was a constant battle with his swing mechanics after that shoulder operation. And he was told over and over that it was going to take a full calendar year to recover your strength. But as he said, you don't really process that. And frankly, when you're fighting your shoulder and your swing in May or June, that information really doesn't help you a whole lot. I got to figure this out now. But now he says it's nice to just get up to the plate and be a baseball player. Nice to just think about the game and not worry about how his shoulder feels that day. This is hit right to Ibar. A little double clutch there. They won't turn two the way Owings runs.
Those are the little things you kind of have to suffer through if you're Freddie Gonzalez. A very easy double play ball right there, even with Chris Owings' speed, but mishandled it short, mishandled it second, and Owings on at first base with 2 outs in the inning. And you clear the pitcher spot.
Patrick Corbin struck out his first time up. Freddie's even got the pink sunglasses going today.
I'd like to extend Mother's Day wishes to all the Brenly women, the Brenly mothers, my wife Joan, my daughter Lacey, and my daughter-in-law Alyssa.
See, there's too many to count.
Oh, there is. All those girls driving me crazy. Yeah, my daughter-in-law Alyssa, who celebrating her first Mother's Day as a mother.
Daughter of twin girls.
Had a nice conversation with Chip Carey before the ball game. He has twins of his own. They're a little older, but he gave me a list of books that they should read to help prepare for raising twins.
I imagine there's a lot involved.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be counting on you to chip in here.
Oh, I will. All right. What I can do. There's only so many things I can do. Teach them how to bait a hook.
That's right. Have you done that yet?
Play a few chords on the guitar.
One and two on Patrick Corbin. And Patrick shoots that into the gap in right center field, and here we go. CO is going to come all the way in and score. Corbin will take the turn and hit for third, and he is in there standing up with an RBI triple.
How about that?
There's a Mother's Day present going back to upstate New York.
Boy, they were playing him cheap out there in the outfield, and Patrick really made him pay this time. Mark Akis playing shallow in right field. That ball just shot by him. You can see he's already retreating to the warning track, leaving his position. That's our Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing cool play of the day. There's an old saying in this game: if you shut him out and drive in a run, you can't lose.
Good. That's good news. Nick Ahmed trying to get that run home from third now. Get greedy with 2 outs. Nick rounded out his first time up. Well, there was no question that CO with his speed and 2 outs was going to score on that one. Gets in those big gaps. 390 out there. He can run all day. That ball was really well struck too. That was a legit extra base hit. Solid contact.
Yeah, we talked about the deep gaps in this ballpark. If you can split those outfielders, you can run all day.
1 and 2 on Ahmed.
I was keeping a close eye on Patrick too. Most of the time the pitchers hit that ball in the gap and they're content to pull into second base. That's enough. Boy, Patrick was long striding around the bag at second.
Went into the NBA fast break mode.
Yeah, easily into third base, standing up.
Oltanevich comes back and strikes out Ahmed. They strand Corbin at third base, but the Diamondbacks score first. They lead it 1-0.
Diamondbacks going for the 3-game sweep. They lead the Braves 1-0. And we set the Wayback Machine to the year 2001. You remember that?
A little bit, yeah. That guy Julio Franco was tough, though. He took RJ deep and had another RBI base hit in that game, but all's well that ends well. BK coming on to get that pop-up to end it. Setting off one of 3 tremendous celebrations we had that season.
That's a look back in history presented by Geico.
I'll give it up to the Braves fans. It's tough to watch a team come in and eliminate your ball club in the postseason, but the fans gave the players a nice round of applause as we eventually came off the field and took the celebration into the clubhouse.
And they're still chomping here. Doesn't have quite the same effect with the crowd now as it did then. Was that really a big deal? Did that bother you guys? With the chopping and the chanting and the whole thing?
We were just worried about their players chopping at pitches in the strike zone. Fans can do whatever they want.
Daniel Castro leads off the 5th against Patrick Corbin. It was Patrick's RBI triple that made the ball game 1-0 D-backs.
That RBI triple by Patrick, the 2nd of his career. The last Diamondbacks pitcher to hit a triple. 3 years ago, almost to the day.
Oh.
Dodger Stadium. Does that help? He's no longer a Diamondback.
Yeah. Ian Kennedy?
Trevor Cahill.
Oh. Off the fist, a little jam shot. It drops in front of CO for a lead-on single for Castro. I couldn't process it then, and I still can't.
Yeah, that's hard to believe.
Trevor tripling.
I'd have to see that to believe it. And I saw it, and I still don't believe it.
I still, I saw the Bartolo Colon home run, and nobody believes that.
Oh boy.
There's Fultonevich.
Well, even though Fultonevich had a base hit back in the 3rd inning, chances are he's up there to move that runner along with a sac bunt. With that in mind, Jake Lamb already drawn in at 3rd.
That one rolls foul. Patrick Corbin's last win, April 17th. That was at San Diego. Followed by home losses to the Pirates and Cardinals. 0-2 in his last 3 starts. The previous outing, a no decision at Miami last Tuesday. Trying to get back in the win column. Lamb comes in from 3rd. That's a ball as Fultonevich pulls back 1-1. Now that's been a theme throughout the first month of the season. The top 3 in the Diamondback rotation. Well, Greinke got his win Friday. Shelby Miller last night. It's Patrick's turn today. 2-1.
Mentioned that Bartolo Colon home run last night in San Diego, estimated at 365 feet, which coincidentally, not ironically, is almost what he weighs.
I like what you did there. He bunts it first base side. Corbin will barehand it. And he'll walk it over to Segura covering. They move Castro along. So 1-4 on the sacrifice for Fultonevich, and that's the first out of the 5th. Nick Markakis singled his last time up.
I think Patrick might have to make Markakis a little aware of the inside pitch in this at bat. You may remember his last time up, he threw a fastball on that outside corner. The Markakis was kind of stepping in the bucket and missed it completely, but then tried to come back with the same pitch. And Markakis lined it right back up the middle of the field.
We mentioned earlier Patrick was pretty happy with a changeup.
His last start in Miami got some swings and misses, got some outs with it. It's a pitch he worked on a lot this spring. So we'll see if he starts going to that slider and that changeup especially more often here as we start the third time through the Braves order. The pitch count is really low, which is a good sign, but this is right about the point in the ball game, 5th, 6th inning, where Chip Hale has told us that the coaches have noticed a little velocity drop, the stuff not quite as sharp or crisp. And they will keep a close eye on him, as Jody told us early in the ball game. There's the strike. And they believe it's fatigue. It's an issue of conditioning and endurance, perhaps still related to the Tommy John surgery. Because as Chip said, they were so careful with Patrick last year. They really limited his pitch count coming off the surgery. They limited his innings, which is what you should do to keep him healthy, and that the fatigue is just part of that process. A bouncer over the mound. Ahmed has it behind the bag. And Castro's in at third, 2 outs. Ender and Ciarte. I guess, Bob, the only way to build up that type of endurance to go 7, 8 innings is to do it, right? And Patrick did not get that opportunity last year, coming off the surgery.
Pretty much. You just have to get out there and go through it, take your lumps maybe occasionally early in the season until you can build up that arm strength and endurance to pitch deeper into the ball games. I mean, you can't simulate it. You can run all day on the warning track. You can throw side sessions and throw as many pitches as you want. But until you're out there competing with the adrenaline pumping and guys in a different colored uniform standing in that batter's box, you just have to go through it. And we've seen a couple times this year when Chip has pulled the plug on Patrick, and he wasn't real happy about it. And I took that as a good sign, that he felt like he still had more gas left in the tank.
Well, the pitch count is in very good shape here. 61 pitches, 40 strikes as he misses there to Ender, and it's 1-1. And again, the most pitches Patrick threw at any start last year was 91. And this year he's gone over that 91 pitch mark in each of his last 4 starts. So that depth into the ball game really is uncharted territory for the post Tommy John Patrick Corbin. Nice one there, tied up in Ciarte, and it's 1-2. And endurance longer to a ball game just has to be built up. This guy, as Chip Hale has told us, is an athlete. We know that, and he is getting stronger every time out there. He left the bases loaded in the 3rd, trying to strand that tying run at 3rd here in the 5th. And Ender chases that one in the dirt, and Patrick Corbin strands the base runner. That's his 4th strikeout. We are through 5, and it's 1-0 Diamondbacks.
He put a 0 on the board for the Braves. Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
We head to the 6th here at Turner Field in Atlanta, where Patrick Corbin's RBI triple has made it 1-0 Diamondbacks. Gene Segura leads it off against Mike Foltynewicz. D-backs have been out hit 5-3, but they lead it 1-0. And Foltynewicz has 6 strikeouts.
I like that first swing from Gene Segura. Foltynewicz has started him with that front door breaking ball in both of his at-bats in this game. He tried to go back to it the third at-bat, and Gene was ready for it. Unfortunately, swung right through it. It doesn't happen very often in the major leagues, but occasionally a pitcher will fall into a pattern. I've retired the guy twice. I'm going to pitch him the same way the third time I did the first 2. And smart hitters will look for that pitch that they've fallen behind in the count twice.
Over Foltynewicz's glove. Here comes d'Arnaud from second. High throw, but Freeman gets his foot down, and they retire Segura. Boy, Freddie Freeman is a big target for any infielder throwing over to first.
Yeah, when Mark Grace played first base for the Cubs and for the Diamondbacks, he used to tell his infielders low rather than high. Gracie didn't exactly have springs over there at first base, but he could pick everything out of the dirt. For Freddie Freeman, you can't throw it over his head.
It's almost impossible. Jake Lamb has singled and struck out.
Mark Grace might have saved Sean Dunston 200 errors over the course of his career. Sean Dunston had one of the greatest throwing arms of any infielder I ever saw, but occasionally he'd bounce him in the dirt over there to first base, and Mark Grace was always there to pick it.
Gracie was pretty good. This just in. Shift is on for Lamb. 1-1.
He was the Nick Ahmed of first baseman back in the day.
And when Gracie's behind the cage during batting practice and anybody hits one down the first base line, he will always say, "Nice stop, Gracie."
That banter around the cage can get a little rough sometimes.
Oh yeah.
If you happen to hit a ground ball to short, somebody will say 6, 4, 3.
Three-one pitch.
Look at that. The learning goes on all the time. Mark Grace over there talking to Brandon Drury, just judging, and Chris Owings for that matter, just judging from what he was doing with his hands there, talking about various pitches and certain counts, things to look for maybe.
Brandon Drury is a sponge. He wants to talk about baseball all the time. There's a fly ball to center for Inciarte. It's up in that wind a bit, which is blowing across the outfield left to right. But he's got it for the second out. That brings up Paul Goldschmidt. Goldie 0 for 2. He has popped up and struck out. Right now he is 6 for his last 38 at the plate. Do you still see the Goldie that seems caught in between, sometimes aggressive, sometimes not aggressive enough?
For me, I just don't see enough aggressiveness, period. Now, we know he's got a great eye for the strike zone, and we know that he can hit well with 2 strikes in the count, but it just seems like he's taken a lot of very hittable pitches early in sequences.
And again, he's behind in the count, a ball and 2 strikes.
Now, see, when Paul Goldschmidt is right, for me, that's a pitch that he would drive out of here to right field. Yeah. Breaking ball, belt high, up and out over the plate. We've seen him drive that ball into the pool at Chase Field a bunch of times. Didn't even think about swinging at that one.
Foltynewicz comes inside at 95 and misses, so it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tied him up inside and struck him out. 7 strikeouts for Foltynewicz, who works a 1-2-3-6. Diamondbacks lead the Braves 1-0. The Braves 1-0. And fans, right after our ball game today, it's the first cup of coffee show of the year with David Peralta, who tells us his amazing story from Venezuela to the Cardinals, back home to becoming a hitter, independent ball in the Diamondbacks. He tells his whole story in his own words. And we'll talk about the Freight Train nickname. It's a brand new season of Cup of Coffee presented by CenturyLink. That is right after our ball game, and then again at 10 o'clock only on Fox Sports Arizona. Freddie Freeman leads off the home half of the 6th against Patrick Corbin. Freeman has struck out and walked 0 for 1. And 2. Freddie Freeman came into today holding a 15-game hitting streak against the Diamondbacks. And if it seems like Freeman is always a problem, that's because he is. He's a .402 hitter versus the D-backs. 10 homers, 33 RBIs in 29 games. This guy has killed the Diamondbacks. Full count, 3-2.
Certainly not a stretch to view Freddie Freeman as the Paul Goldschmidt of the Braves this year. The one guy you go over in the advance meeting, do not let him beat you.
Behind only Manny Ramirez in terms of Diamondback killers. But Patrick Corbin gets him to fish for one right there and strikes him out. 5th strikeout for Patrick.
Downward movement on that slider once again from Patrick Corbin. Ball goes straight down.
Little front door slider. 70 pitches for Patrick, 45 strikes. Tyler Flowers 0 for 2. This is the way things have gone for the Braves here in this ballpark this year. 1-14 here at home at Turner Field this year. And not since the 1913 Yankees. And prior to that, the 1883 Phillies as a team had this bad a start at home. That hit him. A one-out base runner for Jeff Francoeur. Patrick has 5 strikeouts. He has walked 1. Now he's hit a batter. He's given up 5 hits, all singles. Here's Francoeur, who had a base hit. He's 1 for 2.
I'm talking to Joe Simpson, their fine TV analyst here in Atlanta, before the ball game today. He said, just to put it into perspective, Chris Sale has 7 wins. The Braves, as a team, have 7 wins.
Wellington Castillo has 7 home runs. The Braves, as a team, have 7 home runs. It's been that kind of year. And really, it just started. Francoeur again tough on lefties. He's hitting .370 against left-hand pitching this year. Singled his last time up.
At least team president John Shearholz has been able to keep it into perspective and have a sense of humor about it. I ran into him in the hall earlier and said, how's it going? He said, oh, just great.
Well, this is what, you know, I don't know how to put it. This is kind of on purpose. This is part of the plan, right?
Yeah, that's what he said. We have a plan. We have a plan. So,
I mean, you don't want to use the T word, which rhymes with bank, but they're stockpiling prospects. They're trading away regulars. They got some placeholders here until the young guys are ready, and they're building a new ballpark.
you know, and occasionally you overestimate the talents of your own guys. It happened to the Diamondbacks in '04. I was told that a lot of the guys we had coming up for the minor leagues were major league ready. This guy's going to step right in and provide the power that we've lost, and this guy's going to step in and eat up the innings that we've lost. And
'04, huh?
Yeah, it just didn't quite work out.
I was going to say that wasn't the year.
You know, and some of those guys went on to have good careers and become solid major league players, but they just weren't ready at that particular time.
Francoeur quite literally throws his bat at that one and almost hit Corbin. As the Mother's Day pink bat came flying back to the pitcher's mound.
Happens, especially when you get fooled with an off-speed pitch and you try to extend your swing. You kind of loosen the grip on the handle of that bat, trying to stay in the zone just a little bit longer, and that time Francoeur lost it completely.
Two and two. Patrick's pitch count in very good shape, so the bullpen guys with all those pink shoes can just chill. They are chilling out there in the left field corner. Full count, 3-2. 80 pitches, 50 strikes. Here it is. To right field, Brandon Drury runs it down, sticks the glove out there just in time, and they retire Francoeur. That was just like the one that went off his glove the other night.
Yeah, had a little more carry than he was anticipating. Francoeur got a lot of backspin on that ball, and Brandon Drury needed every bit of that long outfielder's glove to make that catch.
Eric Ibar has singled and struck out, 1 for 2. Still haven't got your foul ball yet. You have been predicting one.
I thought we'd get one for sure. The radio booth has been peppered next door, right above it, right below it. We've had a couple just below our perch here.
Stay ready. Be on the ready.
Still got 3 innings plus left here.
We're up there somewhere. Oh, and 2 on Ibar. Will you miss this ballpark at all? You have, obviously, we showed some earlier, some good memories here.
Yeah, just the memories, and I'll have those forever, whether the ballpark is here or not.
Good point.
Yeah. You move on. I always look forward to the new ballparks.
The new one is, I guess it's about halfway done up north, a little north of the city, downtown where we are. That is hard to third, but right to Jake Lamb, and that's the end of the inning. We'll go to the 7th. Patrick Corbin holding a 1-0 lead.
Hey fans, follow the Arizona Diamondbacks baseball live with the MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet.
1-0 D-backs as we roll into the 7th at Turner Field, where the Diamondbacks last swept a series 10 years ago. And they're trying to close out a 3-game sweep here this afternoon. Then it's off to Colorado after this ball game for 3 against the Rockies starting tomorrow. And there's a little bit of a mystery developing as to who will start tomorrow night's game. Does not look like it's going to be Ruby De La Rosa. Nothing wrong with Ruby. He is 100% fine. But we may see change there tomorrow.
You talk about an evenly matched pair of starting pitchers in a ball game. Before that first delivery here in the top of the 7th, Fulton-Evans had thrown 86 pitches in the game. Patrick Corbin had thrown 85. 8 total hits in the game, 3 for the D-backs, 5 for the Braves. Of course, the Diamondbacks have the only run.
On a Patrick Corbin 2-out RBI triple in the 5th. He belted it into the gap in right center and scored Chris Owings from first. And Patrick went into third standing up, but he was stranded there, so it's a 1-0 lead. One and 2 on Ricky Weeks Jr. getting the start today in left field. No David Peralta. David has been hit in just about the same place on the arm last 2 weeks or so. So the arm was barking a little bit, so they gave him the day off. And Ricky shoots this out to Ender Inciarte in the right center field gap. Ender runs it down. Boy, he covers a lot of ground out there. Valley Toyota now. Let's go places. Speaking of that Rockies series, 3 at Coors Field starting tomorrow. TBA will pitch tomorrow. Ruby is just fine. He was supposed to start Monday instead. Everybody gets pushed back. So Ruby goes Tuesday. And Robbie Ray, who was supposed to pitch Tuesday, will pitch Wednesday. And that means Zach Greinke will pitch, if you follow along, the opener of a series against the Giants at Chase Field Thursday.
And for the Rockies, we get the same 3 starters we saw at Chase Field.
And you know what? They've been as good as anybody we faced this year. Those guys have really done a good job. Chad Wood and Russet and Bettis for Colorado. Brandon Drury singled his last time up. 1 for 2. There's a strike. And he's down 0-2. And nicely done there by Foltynewicz, who's got 8 strikeouts.
Foltynewicz, as we mentioned early in the show, has the big arm, good fastball with some tailing, sinking action, but starting to incorporate more and more of those breaking pitches.
I would say, based on video that has been collected by now on Brandon Drury, why would anybody throw him a fastball unless he absolutely had to?
Well, that's a good question. I know I wouldn't.
Yeah. Nor would I. Here's Chris Herman getting the start behind the plate today. Shift is on for Herman. Babe Herman.
Ball hard last time up, a line drive to Nick Markakis in right field.
And Chris Over's last 4 starts has 7 hits, 7 RBIs, including 2 homers. But hitless so far today, and he's down 0-2. And that one is blasted toward the right field corner. Will it stay fair? And that is gone. A home run for Babe Herman. He did it again. That's his 3rd, and it's 2-0 Diamondbacks.
Wow.
He's good for a home run every start. That thing was launched.
It hit about 3/4 of the way up the foul pole out there in right field. Markakis barely moved from his defensive position. Loud contact for Chris Herman.
Yeah. Woo.
Watch where this ball ends up. Markakis just takes a couple steps, and then he's going to play the carom off the foul pole way up at the top.
Chris Owings. That is truly a jumbo jack. The Babe. That ball, if that doesn't hit the pole, it's in the upper deck.
There's not a lot of places to get cheap home runs in this ballpark. There was nothing cheap about that one, but he hit it right down that right field line. It's 330 at the base of the foul pole. That one hit way up high.
Over the mound. Ibar behind the bag. He's got no play, and CO has an infield hit. We got the Owens family right below us. They're here from Gilbert, South Carolina. Yeah, there they are. Here's Patrick Corbin. Struck out in the 3rd, hit an RBI triple in the 5th. And that's 100 pitches for Mike Foltynewicz, 67 strikes.
Braves did have Alexi Agondo throwing in the bullpen a little bit, but sat him down as this inning began.
Lifts this in the air to Nick Markakis in right field. And that's the end of the inning. We stretch at Turner Field. Chris Herman's homer has made it 2-0 D-backs. Field in Atlanta. D-backs trying to close out a 3-game sweep, and they lead the Braves 2-0. The Gig Live high-speed highlights presented by Cox. So far for Patrick Corbin, 6 scoreless innings. He's given up only 5 hits, all singles, a walk and 5 strikeouts.
Has really taken advantage of this left-handed heavy Braves lineup, but maybe the best slider we've seen from Patrick Corbin so far this year. A little help from his defense there. Nick Ahmed with a quick double play at second base. Nasty downer slider working today.
And Freddie Freeman has struck out twice. The Gig Live high-speed highlights presented by Cox. The pitching line so far. Another good thing about this, only 85 pitches through 6 innings. So Patrick, who talked about the need to build up that endurance, go deeper into the ball game, well, he'll come out here to start the 7th, and Chase Darno will lead it off for Atlanta.
That's exactly what you look for when you're going into Colorado for a 3-game series. You want to rest that bullpen as much as you possibly can.
And the back 3 guys, Clippard, Hudson, Ziegler, have worked the first 2 games of this 3-game set, so they could all use a break. They have been tremendous here. There's a fly ball to Ricky Weeks Jr. left center field. But the bullpen will get busy. And there's the sheriff, Andrew Chafin. It's something to watch him check out of the hotel wearing the cowboy hat. And he is committed to that cowboy hat. It is on his head anytime a baseball cap is not. All these nice people in the lobby of the hotel, and there's a lot of mothers, you know, there for Sunday Mother's Day brunch, and everybody's dressed up in their finest, and here comes the sheriff roaming through the lobby with that big cowboy hat.
Howdy, ma'am.
Exactly. Daniel Castro.
You expect to go out in front of the hotel and see a horse tied up.
Yeah, with spurs on and the whole deal. Mother's Day at the ballpark here in Atlanta. Castro singled his last time up, but he's up there right now at a 3 for 36. And Patrick now over 90 pitches. Pitcher spot is up next for the Braves. And Tuiasosopo is in the on-deck circle. This is popped up shallow center. Segura roaming out there. And Co comes in from behind and corrals it at the last possible moment for the second out.
Narrowly avoiding a collision out there. Segura going out. He can't take his eye off the ball. Tough sun conditions here. We talked about the wind blowing across from left to right. You don't want to take your eye off the ball until you hear that center fielder call you off. And Chris waited till the last instant.
So Mike Foltynewicz's day will end right here. With 2 outs in the 7th, they will send Matt Tuiasosopo up to face Corbin. Tuiasosopo struck out as a pinch hitter in Friday's series opener. Mike Butcher a word now as Andrew Chafin continues to throw in the Diamondback bullpen. Corbin at 92 pitches, 59 strikes. Alexi Ogando set to go for the Braves. Diamondbacks in the top of the 8th will have Ahmed Segura Lamb 9-1-2. Matt Tuiasosopo was in spring training with the Diamondbacks 2 years ago. He was waived near the end of that spring training camp, picked up by Toronto. Now he's here in Atlanta. He's had only 2 big league at bats all year. Tell you what, another impressive thing about Patrick here today, Bob. 3rd time through the order, the Braves have had 1 base runner. That was when he hit Flowers in the jersey with a pitch. That's been it. Braves' last hit was a Castro single in the 5th. Behind Tuiasosopo, 3-1. Markakis on deck. On a hop to Ahmed. Patrick Corbin is through 7, holding a 2-0 shutout.
of the 8th, thanks to Patrick Corbin's RBI triple, and then Chris Herman with the Jimmy John's delivery of the game. There is Herman with the home run. He's homered now in 3 of his last 5 starts. And the power surge is definitely on for Chris, who was toying with the pink bat before the game. And he said it had a little bigger barrel. So I think he might be comfortable, guys, just staying with the smaller barrel. Again, some of the weight and the length of these bats are the same, but the barrel size is a little bit different. But right now, I'm thinking he doesn't want to change much. It's going well as far as Chris Herman, or Babe, as you call him, right, Steve?
Babe Herman, yeah. 1 start, 1 home run. That's the deal. Thank you, Jody. Alexei Ogando is on to start the 8th inning out of the Atlanta bullpen. The former All-Star starter with the Texas Rangers and is now a relief pitcher. Last year with the Red Sox, this year with the Braves. Nick Ahmed leads off the Arizona 8th. 2-0 Diamondbacks going for the 3-game sweep. We saw Ogando in Friday's series opener. He had a rough 8th inning. Gave up 3 hits, 2 runs, 1 was earned, had a walk through 33 pitches. And the command has been a bit of an issue for Ogando as of late. He's walked 7 in his last 5 games. And he jumps ahead of Ahmed, 0-2. Nick has grounded out, struck out, 0 for 2. Strikes him out, 1 down.
You can see Tyler Flowers sitting up high behind the plate, gave the high target to Ogando, and up there above the belt, Nick comes up empty.
Gene Segura, who is 0 for 3, so he's got 1 streak on the line. He's reached base safely in 14 straight games, the longest streak of his career. But so far, a fly ball out, couple of groundouts. I would like to point out that since if we do indeed close out this sweep here, BB, you will have been involved in all 3 sweeps.
Really?
2001, you were the skipper. That was a pretty good year.
Not bad.
Well, you may not have been involved at all.
When was the second one?
06, yeah, you were. Well, you're making up for it this time.
The sweep when we need it the most.
Three and 0. They've already clinched their first series win here since 07. This would be the 3rd sweep at Turner Field, 01 and 06. And the seat's out of play. Full count, 3-2. Jake Lamb on deck. And just like in the previous 2 ball games, the top of the Atlanta order will lead off the bottom of the 8th inning. Markakis, Inciarte, Freeman. 3 lefties. Andrew Chafin was warming up earlier. Daniel Hudson has worked the 8th inning the last 2 nights. Chafin hasn't pitched in a while. 3 lefties coming up. Let's see what he'll do here. He come to you from Coors Field for 3 games starting tomorrow. 3 against those Rockies. They're playing at San Francisco today. 3-2 to Segura. This is in the air, right center field. Inciarte running, and he will not get there. It bounces off the wall. Segura's on base again, and he strolls into second with his 6th double. So Gene Segura keeps that streak alive. He has now hit safely in 6 straight and 14 of 15.
Or just about any other ballpark in Major League Baseball, this is a home run. He absolutely clubs this ball to that deep gap out there in right center. You see the 390 mark up against the wall. Segura just chugs into second base, driving that bus.
He has reached base now in 15 straight games. So a 1-out base runner for Jake Lamb, who was 1 for 3. He singled back in the first. Jake has 3 hits in the series. And just like in the first 2 games here, the Diamondbacks have a chance to pad a late lead. They got 1 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th on Friday. Got 1 in the 9th inning last night. Carves that one foul. And they got Segura hung up. Hold on. Bob Drake is called waving off the entire play. The ball was not in play. It was a foul ball. That's what he's telling Freddie Gonzalez. Time was called, and that's it. So Segura goes back to second.
You see him just walking off the bag out there at second as Ogando was standing with his head down. Thought he could sneak in there to third base. Fortunately for the D-backs, time had been called at home plate.
Boy, Segura's always got his eye looking for that little opening. Oh, 2 on Jake Lamb.
You mentioned those tack-on runs the Diamondbacks have been able to put on the board. That's always big against anybody, but especially against a struggling ball club. Braves this year, when they trail after 8 innings in a ball game, are 0-19. So you tack on another run or 2 at the end of a game, and chances are they'll roll over and look forward to tomorrow's game.
A little looper out to left field. It drops in front. Here comes Segura. There's another insurance run for the Diamondbacks. It's an RBI single for Jake Lamb, and it's 3-0. Jake 2 for 4.
Another good piece of base running that time by Gene Segura. Saw how deep Francoeur was playing out there in left field. Heard the contact off the bat. Knew the ball wasn't going to carry very far out there to left field. Takes a quick look right there and decides that's going to get down. And with Jeff Francoeur's arm, you need every available step you can get.
Now 7 hits for the D-backs. They lead at 3-0. Here's Goldie. Still just 1 out. Goldie today 0 for 3. He has popped up and struck out twice. 2-1. Paul has 1 hit in the series. He singled in Friday's series opener. Walked 3 times last night. Thought about that one. Held up, and it's 2-2. Called strike 3. Goldie strikes out for the 3rd time today. All 3 strikeouts looking.
Boy, and this one is just a center cut fastball. Just below the belt, middle of the plate.
It's a little bit of a mystery.
It really is.
Ricky Weeks Jr. 0 for 3.
You know, and we would like to give an answer. It's because of this or it's because of that. But, you know, you just don't get anything from Goldie. You don't get anything from the coaches. We'll never find out if there's anything wrong with him. Could be just a mental thing. Occasionally hitters get in a little bit of a funk where they're looking for the perfect pitch to hit and don't swing at anything else. But we do know that at some point he's going to hit one 9 miles and it's all going to fall back into place for him.
You can bet the ranch. We mentioned the top of the lineup is up for the Braves in the home half of the 8th. Markakis and Ciarte Freeman, 3 left-hand hitters. And there's Garvin Alston on the right watching the left-handed Andrew Chafin continue to warm up. So it looks like Chafin will come in for the home half of the 8th inning. Daniel Hudson has pitched the 8th the last 2 nights here and done an excellent job as always.
The last couple days when the bus got to the ballpark, I ran into Ricky Weeks and Dave Magadan and Mark Grace coming back from the batting cage. And sometimes when you're not an everyday player, your game is at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 10 o'clock in the morning before a day game. That's when you really go out there and put in your work, get ready for that possibility of one pinch hit at bat later in the game.
Right to Markakis. But the Diamondbacks get one more. Bottom 8 coming up from Atlanta. And the D-backs have a 3-0 lead.
As we head to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Hey fans, you can customize your own ticket package with a D-backs mini plan. You can choose from big games including the upcoming Yankee series, the Dodger series in June, or All-American weekend in July. Join the evolution this season. Buy tickets now at dbacks.com.
And it's 3-0 Diamondbacks as we start the bottom of the 8th inning. Defensive changes in the outfield. David Peralta comes in. He replaces Brandon Drury in right field. Brandon moves out to left, replacing Ricky Weeks. And the new pitcher for the Diamondbacks, your Arizona Federal Credit Union pitching change, is the left-hander Andrew Chafin, the sheriff. 15 appearances. He's worked 10 2/3 innings, 13 strikeouts, and he's rested. He has not pitched since Wednesday against the Marlins.
Nice little break for Andrew Chafin, a guy that Chip Hale and Mike Butcher are going to lean on heavily this season. Anytime you can get a chance to give him 2 or 3 days in a row off out of that bullpen, it's only going to make him stronger when he gets back in there.
He's got the 3 best Braves hitters coming up, all left-handers: Markakis, Inciarte, Freeman. And Markakis so far 1 for 3, a single in the 3rd. Nick Markakis. This is lifted in the air along the left field line. Jake Lamb, Nick Ahmed giving chase, and Nick can't quite get it. It drops in fair territory, and Markakis is aboard. He tried the underhand scoop there at the last moment, and it dropped in. That's a single for Markakis.
Yeah, long run, tough play, looking right back up into the afternoon sun. Tried to make that basket catch right at the tail end of the play right there, and just couldn't come up with it. The ball lands in fair territory, and Markakis caught spectating over there, only on first base.
Brings up Ender Inciarte. Ender 0 for 3. He has struck out twice. Trying to close out a terrific outing today by Patrick Corbin. Patrick went 7 scoreless innings, gave up just 5 hits, a walk and 5 strikeouts. He threw 97 pitches. Check swing foul, and Chafin is ahead 0-2.
Hey, partner, I got a pretty cool Mother's Day note for you here.
Oh, is that the one you discovered?
Yeah, Ken Griffey Jr. He must have loved his parents because he hit his 400th home run of his career on his father's birthday. He hit his 500th home run on Father's Day, and Junior had 7 home runs on Mother's Day. How about that?
Keep it in the family.
Wow.
That's a base hit for Inciarte. It drops into left center. Drury over to cut it off. Markakis on the run. He'll head for third, and he's in there. And with Freddie Freeman coming up, the Braves will have the time run at the plate, and nobody out here in the 8th.
Inciarte, after a big swing and a check swing, just kind of soft serves this one out into shallow left center field. Markakis, who wasn't exactly hustling on his blooper down the left field line, makes up for it by going first to third on that little pop up into shallow left center.
Mike Butcher. Freeman, as we mentioned earlier, has been a D-backs nemesis. He homered here yesterday in the first inning off Shelby Miller. In 3 plate appearances today against Patrick Corbin, a walk and 2 strikeouts. D-backs bullpen will get busy again. The rookie lefty Zach Curtis is up and throwing. So here's Freeman. Markakis is at third. Inciarte at first. Nobody out. And suddenly it's a ball game again. Freeman hitting just under 300 versus lefties this year, including 2 home runs. In there for a strike, 0-1. Hitless today. He's got a 15-game hitting streak against the Diamondbacks. Big cut at that one as Chafin humps it up to 94. It's 0-2.
Power against power right here. Belt high fastball, middle of the plate, just blew it right by Freddie Freeman.
Got him. Big time strikeout there for Andrew Chafin. The sheriff is in town, 1 down.
No messing around whatsoever. 3 fastballs in the low to mid 90s right there. That was pretty impressive.
It sure was. He just blew it by. Here it is, Freddie. Take a cut. Tyler Flowers. Ball 1. Flowers grounded out in the second, flied out in the third. He was hit by a pitch his last time up. I don't imagine this is the fun part of the game for the skipper. You're rolling along 3-0, thinking about a sweep, the plane ride, the whole thing, suddenly tying run at the plate.
And so many variables in this game. You know, you think you have everything under control. You got your pitching lined up the way you like it. 3-run lead in the ball game, but we've seen a lot of crazy things happen already this season. More than Chip would like to admit.
2 balls, no strikes on Tyler Flowers. 3-0 now. Jeff Francoeur on deck. Zach Curtis, the lefty. From A ball right to the big leagues. There's a strike, 3-1. Base hit. Marquez will score. Inciarte stops at second. It's 3-1. Three singles in 4 batters against Andrew Chafin.
Inside part of the plate fastball that time to Flowers. He had trouble catching up to the Patrick Corbin fastball up in the zone, but that went down a little bit inside and took it right back up the middle of the field.
And Chip Hale's going to take the baseball here. So it's a 3-1 ball game. Braves have the tying runs on base with 1 out in the 8th. Back after this. Braves threatening here in the 8th inning in Atlanta. And fans, D-back season ticket holders can take advantage of a lot of perks this year, including the ability to exchange unused tickets. If you can't make it to an upcoming game, you can exchange that ticket for another game, or you could even upgrade your ticket. Learn more about becoming a Diamondbacks season ticket holder. dbacks.com/advantage. Suddenly it's a ball game again, and Jake Barrett, the right-hander, comes out of the Diamondback bullpen. 10 appearances this year, a 3.27 ERA. He has not pitched since Wednesday's game at Miami.
Yeah, he really had to make a change here with Jeff Francoeur at the plate. As you mentioned earlier in the ball game, he's made a career out of beating up on left-handed pitching. So Jake Barrett, the man called upon to try to stop this Braves rally.
And Malik Smith, the speedster, will run for Tyler Flowers down at first. He is the tying run. So it's Inciarte at second, Smith at first, 1 out, and it's Jeff Francoeur, the hitter. And there's a strike 0-1. Francoeur 1 for 3. He singled in the 4th. But he is just 2 for 23 this year against right-hand pitchers. That's one reason why.
Kryptonite. That slider starts on the outer third of the plate and sweeps out of the zone.
Rolls away from Herman, but Inciarte stays put at second. Very good speed on the bases for Atlanta. He's hanging in.
Francoeur doesn't generally hit the ball to the opposite field. At least he doesn't prefer to hit the ball to the opposite field. But Dave Peralta playing a little shallow out there in right field. And under the circumstances, the run you're really concerned about is Malik Smith over there at first base representing the tying run. And if Francoeur would happen to hit a ball that direction, get it over the head of David Peralta or past him in right field, Smith would have a real good chance of scoring from first base.
Smith can absolutely fly down there at first. A ball and 2 strikes on Jeff Francoeur. That one is down the left field line. It's a fair ball. Inciarte will score. Smith is going to be waved home by Bo Porter. The relay is over the head of Ahmed, and the game is tied. It's a 2-run double for Jeff Francoeur, and it's 3-3.
I really think the D-backs may have had an opportunity there. Brandon Drury can hit Nick Ahmed with this cutoff throw. He just airmails it over the head of the D-back shortstop, and by the time it rolled back into the infield to Jake Lamb, it was too late. There's Malik Smith just streaking around second, hits third, no hesitation by Bo Porter, waving him all the way.
So a 3-run Atlanta 8th has tied it up. They have the go-ahead run at second, 1 out, and here's Eric Aybar. Mike Butcher now. Skybar here, who's a switch hitter batting from the left-hand side against Barrett. And they'll work to Chase Darno, who's on deck. Darno, a right-hand hitter. That'll give you the possibility of a double play ball on that side of the infield. Darno's already hit into one double play today. He's 0 for 3.
Base hit down in the left field corner, came on a slider. Unfortunately, it just kind of hung up over the inside part of the plate. If he throws that same pitch on the outer third, he probably gets the swing and a miss he was looking for, but made a mistake all the way across the plate that time.
So Francoeur at second, Imar at first. Still just one out. Here's Chase Darno. Seventh man to bat here in the Braves' eighth. They have now out-hit the Diamondbacks 9-7. Sailed away from Jake, and it's 1-1.
Slowly sneaking up on that Braves pitcher spot, and they have all left-handed bats available off the bench at this point, so I would certainly expect that Zach Curtis is loose and ready to go down there in the bullpen.
Our view of the bullpen, even with our cameras, if you can believe it or not, is obstructed. 2-1 pitch. Foul ball.
Jake has thrown some good sliders early in this sequence, but as he gets deeper into the count, he's left a couple up over that inside part of the plate. Fortunately, that time Darno fouled it straight back.
2-2. Got him.
There it is.
Big strikeout for Jake Barrett. That's the second out in the eighth inning. It brings up Daniel Castro.
And this is the one he was trying to throw to Francoeur. Pitch before to Darno, stayed up over the inside part of the plate. When he gets that slider out in that location, very tough to recognize spin on the ball. You get a lot of weak swings.
Castro singled in the fifth. 3 for 37 right now at the plate. He's at 208 on the year. Francoeur at second. He's the go-ahead run. Ibar at first. There's a ball, 1-0.
Not that Freddie Gonzalez has a lot of great options available off the bench, but I did mention he's got 3 left-handed hitters available. Kind of surprised he's letting Castro take this at bat right here with the potential go-ahead run in scoring position.
He's already burned Tuiasosopo. A.J. Pierzynski is out in the on-deck circle for the Braves. 1-1 to Castro. Lifts it in the air, very short right field. Peralta coming in, looking up into that sun, and he's got it. The Braves strand 2, but they get 3. We will head to the 9th. It's now a tie ball game, 3-3. Our Gila River game summary: Patrick Corbin outstanding, 7 scoreless innings. He allowed only 5 hits, had 5 strikeouts, but the bullpen, Chafin and Barrett, let it get away with a 3-run Atlanta 8th, and now we're all tied up, and the closer is on here in a tie game of the 9th inning at home. It's Aradis Vizcaino. A.J. Pierzynski takes over after they pinch ran Malik Smith for Tyler Flowers, so a new battery for Atlanta. Vizcaino pitched the 9th inning last night. Gave up a couple of singles, a walk, a run scored. Brandon Drury, Chris Herman, Chris Owings do up 5, 6, and 7 for the Diamondbacks. And Brandon so far 1 for 3. He singled in the 5th. He has struck out twice. He faced Vizcaino last night and popped up.
That's a nasty pitch. Drop down low, 3/4 arm angle, working from the third base side of the rubber, cross firing all the way to the outside corner at the knees.
There's another one.
Slider that time, pretty much same location.
Out over the head.
whatever this is, it's the same pitch he threw over his head on the last one.
Got him at chase. Drury strikes out for the 3rd time today. 1 away in the 9th.
Chased a bad one there. High breaking ball, way up above the letters, out over the plate.
Chris Herman now, who hit a towering home run 3/4 of the way up the right field foul pole his last time up, his 3rd of the year. That made it 2-0 Diamondbacks in the 7th. They added 1 more in the 8th. It was 3-zip, but the Braves answered with 3 in the home half. Shift is on for Atlanta. There's ball 1. This was Babe Herman in the 7th.
Oh, it was absolutely clubbed.
Way up there. That's easily 10, 12 rows back in the 2nd deck if it didn't hit the pole. This is going to reach the seats.
Well, that's been a huge boost for Chip Hale as well. We know he wants to try to give Wellington Castillo some regular rest from time to time this season, depending on the opposing pitcher and the matchup numbers. But when your backup catcher isn't doing anything offensively, it makes it really tough to give your starter a night off. But with Chris Herman swinging the bat much better, makes it a little easier to give Wellington Castillo a day off here or there.
Yeah, counting today, Chris in his last 5 starts has 3 home runs and 8 RBIs. Look out.
Wow. When Vizcaino misses, he misses.
Bet.
One over the head of Brandon Drury, throws this one all the way to the backstop. Hit the bull.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed. Clank.
Jay says, I just got in a game and take a foul tip right off the grill. Happy Mother's Day, AJ.
You know what? He's been getting that now for 19 years in the major leagues. He'll be 40 at the end of this year. How about those shades he's got? 2-2. Yes, Herman wins, says Sam Holbrook. 2nd strikeout for Vizcaino. Two down for Chris Owings. Chris's family here with us on Mother's Day from Gilbert, South Carolina. They made the drive down. Co has a single. He has scored a run. David Peralta came into the ball game to play right field. He was inserted, at least we were told, into the 8th spot, which was the pitcher's spot. That's up next, but Phil Gosselin is out of the on-deck circle. Should Owings reach? Here's Chris's family. Vizcaino a strike away from getting a side in order.
And we're not sure if they got the change wrong and whether David Peralta is indeed the on-deck hitter, and maybe they're going to pinch hit for David, or maybe they got the lineup change wrong and that still is the pitcher spot. We're not quite sure.
And we can only go by what's on the board. And they have Peralta as the number 8 hitter right now. Gosselin on deck. 0-2 on Chris Owings. Missed at 99. 1-2. Chris drafted out of Gilbert High School in South Carolina by the Diamondbacks, a first-round pick back in '09. Two and two. Full count. He's worked it back full 3-2.
Well, he's taken a couple of tough pitches in this at bat with 2 strikes that last year he would have been flailing at.
Yep. His plate discipline is vastly improved this year. Ibar has to charge this one. Oh, it's Castro from third, and they got no play. Another base hit for Chris Owings.
Second infield hit in the game. You may recall in his last at bat in the 7th inning, he chopped one over the mound up the middle of the field. The Braves couldn't make a play as Chris was streaking down that first base line. Very similar infield hit this time.
The family is happy. So Gosselin announced as the pinch hitter, which means if he stays in the ball game, he'd have to go out and play the outfield, which is fine. He's played left field before last year. Gosselin 250 with a home run. Had a RBI sac fly as a pinch hitter Friday. Had a pinch hit single last night. This is bounced to second base. Darno, they flip to Ibar, and they just do get Chris Owings. Or hold up, let's find out. Chip Hale putting up the stop sign on the top step of the Diamondback dugout. A little conversation with Corey Blazer down there. They'll check with Alan Campbell in front of the video equipment of the Diamondback clubhouse. Glenn Sherlock, the bench coach, on the phone. That was awfully close, but no challenge. So we will go to the bottom of the 9th. It's 3-3. The D-backs and Braves at Turner Field. As soon as this game is over, we will go right to the debut episode of Cup of Coffee this year with David Peralta. That's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Cup of Coffee only on Fox Sports Arizona. The debut show coming up as soon as this game ends, and then again at 10 o'clock later tonight, only on Fox Sports Arizona. And we were right about the lineup mistake on the part of the Braves scoreboard operator. Zach Curtis, the new pitcher on for the Diamondbacks, his 3rd big league appearance up from Class A Visalia. David Peralta did indeed stay in the game, so he is the right fielder. Phil Gosselin was indeed hitting for the pitcher. So Peralta is in the 4 spot in the Diamondback order, and Curtis is the new pitcher. There's David still in the ball game.
Streak of 5 straight left-handed hitters coming up with Przinsky hitting in the 9 spot. And then you've got Markakis, Inciarte, Freeman, and then the pitcher spot, and it'll have to be a left-handed pinch hitter because that's all Freddie Gonzalez has left.
Zach Curtis has been outstanding so far. He's retired every batter he's faced in the big leagues. A pair of strikeouts in 2 appearances. So Pierzynski leads off the Atlanta ninth. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. They overload the right-hand side. There's ball 1. A.J. Pierzynski, 203, 6 RBIs. Hitless in the series. He's 0 for 6. And 4 for his last 30 at the plate. This is a bouncing ball. Segura's on it. Can he make the play? Gene Segura, the shift is on. And they retire Pierzynski. That's a 4-3 putout, 1 down.
Well, that's just straight robbery right there. You see Gene Segura at the top of your screen there on a dead sprint, not only going to his left, but going back into right field. Makes the diving play and the strong throw on to first. What a play.
Markakis 2 for 4, a pair of singles. He got that Braves 3-run rally started in the 8th inning that tied the ball game. Markakis for the year hitting about 40 points below what he hit versus lefties last season, but he's got a pair of singles against left-hand pitching here today. 1-1.
You rarely see a catcher jump for a pitch.
It's probably not a good thing when that happens.
Coming up out of that crouch, that fastball just kept taking off. Yeah, maybe after the fact, but Chris Herman has to leave his feet.
Got some style points.
Yeah. If you're wearing pink shoes, you got to have style points.
1-2. There's Zach's wife on the right there, here from Tennessee, and his little boy in the yellow shirt. That's out of play. Zach Curtis has done a terrific job so far. Just called up from Class A Visalia, straight from A-ball to the big leagues, 23-year-old lefty. Out of Hendersonville, Tennessee. Pitched at Middle Tennessee State. He's a Blue Raider. 6th round pick by the D-backs 2 years ago. 2-2. Zach, in a little over 2 seasons as a pro, is averaging nearly 14 strikeouts for every 9 innings pitched. A big-time slider that really wipes out lefties.
Well, he's going to get a chance to use it, as I mentioned. All lefties here. First 5 hitters in this inning. Hopefully he'll only see 3 of them.
Low to mid-90s fastball, that big slider, nice soft change up. There's a curveball in there too. Inside, and it's a full count, 3-2. Ender and Ciarte on deck. Ender singled and scored his last time up.
Markakis is a tough out.
It's going to take at least 10 pitches to get him out here. Grinding. You'd like to come inside. Almost everything has been away, but you want to stay away from what power Markakis does have.
Nick Ahmed, it's into left, a base hit for Markakis. And the winning run is aboard with 1 out in the 9th. His 3rd hit today.
I mentioned you'd like to come inside just to keep him honest at some point in that sequence, but you want to stay away from what power Markakis does have, and that's to his pull field in right. That time just a ground ball past Nick on into left field for a 1-out base hit.
Ender Inciarte. 1 for 4. Jake Lamb will take a step or 2 in at 3rd. Strike 1. One and two.
Fooled badly on this breaking ball. That's that hard slider you were talking about.
Tough pitch for a left-hand hitter.
Inciarte's at bat, but the wind that we've seen blowing in from left field and across from left to right this entire series has turned completely around and is now blowing straight out.
With Freddie Freeman on deck.
Goes without saying you'd love to get a double play ball right here and leave Freddie Freeman in that on deck circle.
2-2. Big strikeout for Zach Curtis. 2 down. He's got one more big out to get. Freddie Freeman. He has walked and struck out 3 times. Markakis is the winning run at first base, 2 outs in the 9th. Mike Butcher going to make a little visit here. And Freeman may be hitless in this ball game, but he is their hottest hitter. He's hit safely in 5 straight, 10 of his last 11, and over that span is hitting .425. So this will be the biggest challenge of Zach Curtis's young major league career right now. There's his wife and young son here with us from Tennessee. Foul ball.
We'd really like to be able to swing Goldie around behind Nick Markakis down there at first base, give himself a little more range, plug that hole between first and second. But you got to make sure Markakis doesn't get too big a jump over there at first base in the event Freeman happens to hit an extra base hit.
And as we've seen in this series so far in this ballpark with its big gaps, 380 in left center, 390 in right center, you hit it in there, you can run a long time. One pitch. Well, when he takes that cut, it's like he's in a long drive contest on the golf course.
Yeah, good pitch right there too. A slider behind in the count. Freeman sitting on a fastball, and Curtis refused to give in to him.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Oh, missed inside. It's a full count, 3-2. Pitcher spot is up next. Kelly Johnson in the on-deck circle. Markakis is the winning run. It'll be off with a pitch from first. Goldie plays behind the runner. And there he goes. Ball 4. Another left-hand hitter. As Bob mentioned, nothing but lefties back there for Freddie Gonzalez. It's Kelly Johnson with the winning run at second and 2 outs. Johnson, the former Diamondback, hitting .200 on the year. One for 4 in the series. He walked and singled Friday night. Kelly Johnson only 8 at-bats all season versus left-hand pitchers. But for his career, he's actually hit lefties a lot better than righties, about 30 points better, in fact. Curtis behind, 2-0.
Well, this is a man you want to get. Jeff Francoeur in the on-deck circle, a right-handed hitter that throughout his career has handled lefties pretty well. Came up with that big base hit back in the 8th inning. Drive home a couple of runs and tie this game up.
Brando Delgado starts to warm up in the Diamondback bullpen. The 2-0 to Kelly Johnson. 3 balls and no strikes. There's a strike, 3-1. Bases are loaded. back-to-back two-out walks for Zach Curtis, and that'll bring up Jeff Francoeur. Markakis, the winning run, now 90 feet away. Nothing from the Diamondback dugout. They've had the right-hander Delgado warming up. Not sure for how long exactly, and here comes Chip Hale. Well, Zach Curtis got Brzezinski to ground out. A hit and 2 walks have loaded him up with 2 outs. 3-3 bottom 9. Back in a moment. Here, 3-3 game, bottom 9, bases loaded, 2 outs for the Braves, and Randall already with 15 appearances this year and has thrown 17 2/3 innings in relief. A 6.62 ERA. He threw only 5 pitches to get his man in his last appearance. That was Thursday at Marlins Park. Braves have him loaded with 2 down. The only run that matters, Dick Markakis standing at third. Jeff Francoeur, 2 for 4. He hit the 2-run double that tied it in the 8th. Strike 1. Short hop makes the throw, and Randall Delgado puts out the fire. The Braves leave him loaded and will play extras at Turner Field.
Christmas baseball here on Mother's Day. Hey fans, the dog days of summer are here with the new PetSmart patio destination at Chase Field. Bring your pup to any Sunday home game and enjoy exclusive seating, an indoor air-conditioned dog park, pet treats, and all-you-can-eat ballpark food for you. Get your dog days of summer ticket pack now at dbacks.com/dogdays.
We head to the 10th, and the new pitcher for the Braves. We saw him last night, the veteran right-hander Jason Grilli, who threw 24 pitches in the 8th inning. Gave up a couple of hits, singles to Drury and Gosselin. And he'll face Ahmed Segura Lamb, 9-1-2 in the Arizona 10th. D-backs had a 3-0 lead in the 8th inning. But Atlanta got 3 against Andrew Chafin and Jake Barrett. Randall Delgado left them loaded in the bottom of the 9th, and here we are, top 10. Ahmed 0 for 3. He has struck out twice. Right in the booth next to us.
We're getting closer.
Missed you by about 6 feet. Richard Saenz just made a tremendous play. Oh, and 2.
Nick really needs to lay off those high pitches. He takes such a long stride. A lot of times the barrel of the bat drops down underneath the baseball, especially when you chase those high pitches.
Called strike 3. Ahmed down on strikes for the 3rd time, 1 away in the 10th. Gene Segura doubled and scored his last time up. He's 1 for 4. Now with a 6-game hitting streak. Dodgers have beaten the Blue Jays in Toronto. 4-2 is the final score there. Rockies and Giants at AT&T Park in San Francisco. Colorado a 1-0 lead early in that ball game. Mets and Padres scoreless early first at Petco.
The thing about this ballpark too, we've talked throughout this 3-game series how big it plays, deep gaps. You really got to step on it to get it out of here unless you're Chris Herman. It's going to probably take a string of base hits or a couple of hits and a walk or something to push a run across. Can't really count on anybody hitting a game-winning home run.
Really rings up his 2nd straight Diamondback hitter, Gene Segura, having a discussion with Rob Drake. And here comes Chip Hale quickly. Remember, this happened to Nick Ahmed the last time we went to extra innings, and Shelby Miller ended up in left field. You don't gotta love the Drake on that one.
No. Hate the Drake.
Told you the Drake was bad. Jake Lamb, RBI single his last time up. He's 2 for 4. Jake can get it up into that wind that's blowing out to right center. Fingers crossed. Shift is on. There's the strike 0-1. Arbar, the shortstop, right in front of second base umpire Corey Blazer.
And the seats out of play, 0-2.
In order to take advantage of this big ballpark, a veteran like Jason Grilli figures just to stay away from Jake Lamb's power, make him hit it to the opposite field. Of course, we've seen Jake drive some balls out that way lately.
Yeah, he's had a great left center field approach. It went out there, in fact, in the first inning last night. 1-2 pitch. Jake says for the most part his stock approach at the plate is to hit the ball hard to center field. What he doesn't want is to get too right side of the field or too left side of the field. What he's trying to do, he says, every time is essentially line out to the center fielder. Now he's not trying to make an out, but the point that he really wants is he wants to hit a low line drive out to center someplace.
Seems to make a lot of sense. If you're a little early, you still keep the ball fair to right field. If you're a little tardy, you should be able to keep it fair to left field. Ooh, good cut that time.
And if he's doing that, and if he's a little late on the fastball, then hopefully, he says, he'll hit it over the head of the shortstop, and that's into the gap, and off you go. Or if he's a little early, it's in the gap in right center field. Big time battle here.
He's taking some home run swings, I'll say that.
But that's how you end up with these 15 inning games, right? If everybody comes up in extras and tries to win it right there.
Yeah, unfortunately, everybody wants to be the hero. See their name in the headlines of the paper the next day.
Another 1-2 pitch. He did not go, Sam Holbrook. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes on Jake Lamb. Full count, 3-2. Goldie on deck.
10th pitch of the at bat coming up for Jake.
It's in the seats. Jake will not try and hit it away from the shift despite the good left center field approach, because he says he knows if he's up there trying to control where he hits the ball, then he's changing his bat path, and he doesn't want to do that. He wants the barrel of that bat in the zone early, and he wants it to stay in that zone for as long as possible with his natural swing. So we'll see what he gets right here on 3-2. Got it. Grilli wins the war and strikes out the side. Bottom 10 coming up. Atlanta, we're here at Turner Field, still playing ball. 3-3 game, bottom 10. Diamondbacks, as soon as this game is over, are on a plane to Colorado for 3 against the Rockies starting tomorrow. D-backs have still not named a starting pitcher for that game. They have pushed both Ruby De La Rosa and Robbie Ray back a day. Just trying to get them some extra rest. Everybody's just fine. And this one got away late. They were up 3-0. But a 3-run Atlanta 8th inning against Andrew Chafin and Jake Barrett have tied it up. Randall Delgado got a huge out in the 9th with the bases loaded and 2 down. And here we are, bottom 10. Eric Ibar will lead it off.
Well, in my official capacity of Captain Obvious here in the booth, it's TBA for tomorrow, and Ruby and Robbie Ray have been pushed back a day. There's going to have to be a roster move. Somebody's going to have to go to make space for whoever tomorrow's starting pitcher is.
In the air, right field, Peralta. We celebrate Mother's Day all over Major League Baseball today. Going to be a long afternoon for some of the moms who are with us. They're hanging in.
That's what moms do. They keep dinner warm when you're late coming home from practice. They make sure your uniform's clean and ready to go. Give you a shoulder to cry on after an 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts.
Chase Darno 0 for 4 with 1 strikeout. Up the middle and into center, a base hit. He's the winning run with 1 out.
About a 4-hopper right back up the middle of the field. Diamondbacks middle infielders are split wide. Each guy a step or 2 toward the hole on his side of the field, and Darno split him perfectly.
Daniel Castro singled in the 5th. He's 1 for 4.
Let's go, Bravo! Let's get these D-backs out right now! Come on!
We had a smidge over 17,000 with us at first pitch. A smidge less than that still here. That's slapped down the right field line, out of play.
I think there might have been a missed sign right there, just judging by Castro's reaction in that batter's box. He chased a high pitch with an inside-out swing, trying to move it to that right side of the field, and then locked eyes with Darno down there at first base. Turned and looked at the third base coach, looked back to his own dugout. I think there may have been a missed sign.
Yeah, Terry Pendleton, the first base coach, checked in with Darno just before that pitch. The 0-1. Right to Segura. Ahmed for 1, and Nick turns it. Double play behind Delgado, and that ends the threat. We'll go to the 11th, tied at 3.
last year on Mother's Day.
Ooh, I remember.
I'm kind of taking, this is my responsibility.
It's all on you.
Yeah, it is. I own it. Wow, Bob, this game is really moving along.
Wow, what a fast game.
I felt confident. What can I tell you? And now I'm dreading that. So here we are, 11th inning. After Jason Grilli struck out the side in the 10th, the new pitcher for Atlanta is the right-hander Jim Johnson. And Goldie will lead it off. By the way, last year on Mother's Day, we were in Milwaukee, you may recall, and we played 17 innings. Martin Maldonado, the walk-off homer. I believe off, if memory serves, El Nino. Fidel Nunez.
Yeah, I think you're right. He had come on to eat up as many innings as he could at the tail end of that extra inning ball game.
Yeah, I think he pitched like 5 1/3 innings, 2 hits, and one of them was the walk-off homer. Fidel Nunez. Goldie 0 for 4. He has struck out his last 3 times up. And Paul right now is 6 for his last 40 at the plate. 1-1.
See a lot of power sinkers from Johnson. Mix in an occasional curveball, especially to the right-handers, or to steal a strike one on a lefty, but a lot of sinkers.
We saw Johnson pitch the opener here Friday, came on in the 6th, gave up the Brandon Drury homer. Goldie 2 for 2 with a home run against him. 3-1 pitch. Goldie started walking back to ditch the equipment, jog down to first. Not so much. And there's another walk for the major league leader. Leadoff man aboard for the Diamondbacks. And here's David Peralta. First walk to a D-backs hitter today. David 262, 3 home runs. He has had quite a contrast in this series. 2 very different ball games. Friday, Peralta 3 hits, an RBI, scored twice. Last night 0 for 5. He struck out 3 times.
Boy, and he looked so locked in Friday. It looked like one of those games that would have some carryover value, but disappeared last night.
And he's got that pink sleeve on the arm that's been troubling him. So that's the reason he was not in the starting lineup today, we're told. Just barking a little bit. Hit by a couple of pitches over the last week or so. Chop foul, and it's 0-2.
It's a count where a lot of pitchers try to throw a chase pitch, something out of the zone, maybe in the dirt. See if Goldie can read that pitch in the dirt and move up to second base. Instead, they go up the ladder. Mentioned that throughout this series, A.J. Pierzynski does not throw well at all behind the plate.
Goldie has stolen a base in every game in this series so far. He holds it first, and Peralta takes ball 2. That's a bouncer to second. Darno makes a nice play. They get the force on Goldie, and that's it.
A tumbling slide into second base that time by Goldie. Appeared to be well within the Utley rule, but it kind of looked awkward as he rolled across the bag there.
Well, here's Drury, who homered off Jim Johnson Friday. And I think Freddie Gonzalez is thinking along those same lines. He's going to come out and talk to Rob Drake. And he's pointing to second base.
It looked like Goldie was well within reach of the bag out there at second.
And the new rule requires the base runner to make what baseball calls a bona fide slide attempt, and then to remain on the base. You are not allowed to change your pathway to the bag while sliding to break up the double play.
There wasn't even contact. I mean, Goldie's left knee stuck in the dirt out there at second base, which is why he ended up tumbling over the bag, but there was absolutely no contact with the middle infielder of any kind.
And now Freddie is getting into it here with Sam Holbrook, the crew chief. I don't think they're going to bite on a review of this one, and Freddie's a little upset he's not getting his review. But I think the umpires, Bob, agree with you. There wasn't enough there to even go to the video.
Yeah.
But, well, Freddie's made his case. Let's see. Yeah, they are going to put the headsets on after all.
I mean, he didn't force Ibar to change his lane to throw to first base. There was no contact made whatsoever.
Well, remember this. The runner may contact the fielder in the course of the slide if it's a legal slide. He may not deviate from his path to the base and then contact the fielder. And this is subject to review. Obviously, the headsets are on. So you can touch the guy.
Sure.
We've seen guys, even if they did slide directly into the bag in other games, and he is out indeed. We've seen guys sort of grab for somebody's foot or reach up with their hands. They'll call you out if you do that. But that was a very, very quick review.
Now watch the left knee as it hits the dirt right here and just stops his momentum right there. That's what caused him to tumble forward. I mean, that wasn't an attempt to roll block the middle infielder or anything like that. He attempted to put a normal slide into second base, but his left knee got stuck in the dirt.
So we're set to go. It's one out. Peralta the runner at first, and here is Brandon Drury, who singled in the fifth. He has also struck out 3 times. Strike one.
Mentioned Johnson likes to live and die with that power sinker. That's a pitch that will work its way back toward the right-handed hitter. If he starts it over the middle of the plate and ends up on the inside corner, that would be right in Brandon Drury's happy zone.
1-2. And Brandon has been awfully happy lately. Last 18 games, he's hit nearly 360, 15 extra base hits. This is the D-backs' 4th extra inning game at Turner Field. So far, Arizona 1-2 of those extra inning games here. Chris Herman, who has now homered in 3 of his last 5 starts, is on deck.
Out in front, but he just did get a piece.
A lot of room in that gap in right center. Get that freight train on the tracks over there at first base.
Called strike 3. Rob Drake rings him up. A lot of the Diamondback hitters have been walking away, muttering and shaking their heads after a called strike 3 by Rob Drake today. Let's see where this one was.
Might have worked its way just to the outside corner that time. A.J. Pierzynski did a nice job of getting around that ball and pushing it back toward the corner as he made the catch.
That's the 8th time a Diamondback hitter today has been called out on strikes looking. Chris Herman, 1 for 4. He homered in the 7th. And it was a long home run. 3/4 of the way up the foul pole in right field. Peralta takes off. The throw from Pierzynski is offline. And David overslid the bag. He's back in time. The pitch was a strike to Herman, so it's 0-2. And it looks like Ibar, the shortstop, a little shaken up on that one.
Pretty good jump by David over there. AJ's throw sails high and wide out there at second base, and in the attempt to get the tag back on Peralta after he slid back past the bag, Ibar jams that left hand into the dirt.
Tough to see the bag for Corey Blazer down there. So Peralta in scoring position with 2 outs, but it's an 0-2 count on Herman. He gets this one up in the air, deep right center field, way back, and that ball is gone, a home run! Chris Herman, his 2nd home run today. And the Diamondbacks take a 5-3 lead. The Babe. America's backup catcher, Babe Herman.
What a horrible mistake by Jim Johnson on an 0-2 pitch. Just put it on a tee for Chris Herman, and he absolutely crushes it to right field. What a day for Chris Herman.
2 long home runs. He has knocked in 3. And the Diamondbacks lead at 5-3. Babe Herman. There's Chris Owings.
Man, that is the last thing in the world you expect as a hitter, is a pitch right down the middle of the plate on an 0-2 count. I mean, at that point, Chris Herman is just up there battling, trying to keep the at-bat going, hope that Jim Johnson makes a mistake, and he did it on the 0-2 pitch.
His 2nd home run today. Numbers 3 and 4 on the year. 3-0 on Chris Owings now. And you know what that means?
Yeah. Tacos.
You were a little slow on the draw that time. Well, it's extra innings.
Extra innings.
3-1.
I could use some tacos right about now.
You're not the only one. Darno at 2nd. We'll go to the bottom of the 11th inning. Chris Babe Herman, a solo homer in the 7th, and a 2-run, 2-out homer in the 11th, and he's made it 5-3 Diamondbacks. second home run of the ball game has made it 5-3 D-backs, and on now to try and close out the ball game in a 3-game sweep is Brad Ziegler. 6 saves on the season, and he comes into tonight having worked scoreless baseball in 11 of his last 13 appearances. 34 consecutive saves, a Diamondbacks record, and the longest active streak in the major leagues. How about Babe Herman?
Wow.
Last 5 starts for Chris Herman, 4 homers and 10 RBIs.
How about the D-backs catching tandem rather? 11 home runs and 27 driven in between Wellington Castillo and Chris Herman.
That'll get it done. Now Brad Ziegler's got to get it done. A.J. Przinsky in the 9-hole here will lead off the Atlanta 11th. Ziegler got the save here last night. He worked a 1-2-3 ninth. Got Brignac, Ibar, and Castro. He also pitched Friday. That was not a save opportunity. Diamondbacks won at 7-2. He worked a 1-2-3 ninth. Two and two. Reaches out and rolls it right into the shift. Jake Lamb is there. That's a 5-3 putout from second base. One away. And the order rolls around now. Here's the top of the lineup for Atlanta. Nick Markakis, who's had a good day here. 3 hits, all singles. He scored a run in that 3-run Atlanta 8th. Delgado in line to get the win here, and he deserves it after coming into that mess in the bottom of the 9th. Bases loaded, 2 outs. And he got Francoeur to ground out to end the threat. And now the Diamondbacks have a chance to win it in 11. Reno now on Markakis. Inciarte on deck. A 1-out walk. And the Braves will get the tying run to the plate. Ender singled and scored in the 8th. He is 1 for 5. He has struck out 3 times. Cup of Coffee with David Peralta premieres as soon as this game ends on Fox Sports Arizona. Scheduled to run again later tonight at 10 o'clock. There's a high chopper that goes foul.
Inciarte already with a hat trick in this game. He's punched out 3 times. He singled and scored back in the 8th inning, and also lined out to third base in the 3rd.
0-2. Carves it out the other way to Drury in left field. 2 outs. Freddie Freeman. One more big out to get. He's the tying run at the plate, 2 down. 0 for 3. He has walked twice, struck out 3 times. A 15-game hitting streak against the Diamondbacks, but hitless so far today.
Brad Ziegler did not face Freddie Freeman in his first 2 saves in this series.
Shift is on against Freeman. Lamb behind the second base umpire. Segura out in the outfield grass. That one misses away, and it's 1-1. Pitcher spot up next for Atlanta. Reed Brignac is in the on-deck circle. Should Freeman reach? Big cut at that one, 1-2.
Nice change up that time.
It's amazing how far that pitch has come for Brad Ziegler.
Especially against teams that aren't in the National League West. When you only see Brad Ziegler maybe 1 at bat every couple of years, and all of a sudden he's got a straight changeup that you have never seen before.
A strike away. Up the middle, Nick Ahmed. How else should this series end? Nick Ahmed comes up with a tremendous play. The Diamondbacks get the extra innings win 5-3, and they sweep the 3-game set here at Turner Field. Their first sweep here in 10 years.
Smiles all around. Big tip of the cap to Chris Herman, the Babe, today. Big 2-homer game.
Babe Herman, his last 5 starts behind the